Karibu mpenzi mtazamaji wa Vipaji Online katika programu yetu ya Twende na Wakati, programu ambayo tunajifundisha kutumia vifaa mbalimbali vya muziki, na leo tutaungana na wenzetu kutoka Kenya mjini Nairobi, Credible Sound. Watatufundisha jinsi ya kutumia kinanda kipya kabisa cha Yamaha Montage. Karibu.
Credible Sounds, in collaboration with Yamaha Music Gulf, hosted a Yamaha Music Seminar, an intensive professional audio seminar for sound audio engineers and sound equipment operators. The advent of Yamaha Montage keyboard is a milestone in the music industry, with high-quality sound production necessitated by the motion control phenomena. Chronological details about the unique features of this latest keyboard and direction on how to use it effectively.
Thank you. Now, that was, everything came from the Montage. In my previous demo, we had a little sequence, didn't we? So everybody, a couple of people must have thought, yeah, if everybody had a computer, we can do that. Now, Montage, some were not here, so I'm going to have to try and recap a little bit, okay? Now, it's a two-tone generator engine, okay? That is bridged together by something called motion control. Because the question is, what is that little thing? Is it relevant? How many of you has asked, what is the relevance of the supernova? I just need a great piano and a good strings and a good that, right? We do ask that, don't we? Because ultimately, we are church boys, man. We're performers. We play in church. The reverend comes on board, and he wants to hear, what's a good song here to sing in worship? What do you normally sing here? Good piano, and a good pad. But how about complete control? How about being able to, maybe in the middle of one part of the song, would you do that on a motif? How would you do that? You would actually literally get, you know. And then, you know, on a bad day, have you tried it? Where just when you're pulling a knob up, you turn something off by accident and nothing happens again. But then you realize accidentally you've actually pushed a mute knob. So even though you turn the volume back up, nothing is happening. And so the reverend turns around and looks at you like, I need to organize another anointing service for this keyboardist, you know. I think the last deliverance didn't work, you know. But I used this thing. So what I did say earlier on is the Montage is a two-tone generator. Okay, I'll explain those in a second. Being controlled by something called motion synthesis. Who's heard motion synthesis? You must have heard about it. You know, they used to advertise the Montage, but what is motion synthesis? Motion control. Actually, that's the birth of it. So the name of it is motion control, but it's basically motion synthesis, meaning the Montage prides itself on being a performance keyboard. You see, normally, you play songs, okay? So let me recap on something that I did earlier on, okay? I started something like this. Like I'm playing 3 keyboards, but I'm playing 1. Now, all that was possible through this motion control phenomenon that I talked about. Now, let me explain what that is. Basically, I have an instance where I'm playing a song. We are in church. So if let me go back a bit. I said 2 sound engines, okay? How many of you have ever wondered what they are? The first one is a sample-based engine. It's called the AWM2, okay? Now, that means Advanced Wave Memory. It's an old principle Yamaha adopted many years ago, actually, where they sample sounds of original instruments. So, for example, we have this instrument. Now you can hear it deep. So it gets better as we go along. So many years ago, it was good. Now it's even better, okay? So now we've advanced it. So now it's AWM2. So that's the second generation of it. Now that allows us to have different samples, okay? Not just samples, we model behavior as well. In the early days, you just have to record a sound, and that's it. So you get this. That's it. But the piano is not just about that. It's about this. When I'm playing it. Why? Because if you played a real piano before, it behaves a certain way. Okay? Now, as I demonstrated in the last seminar, it's been sampled in such a way that you have different layers, okay? Some people love to use the knobs there. So whatever I'm doing here, I can replicate it on the knobs there. I'm an old school guy. I used to play with knobs all the time and buttons. So now that I've got a big touch screen, I want to just touch it. I love the sound it makes. Tick, tick, tick. It's beautiful. So, so for example, the original patch is this. What just happened? You can't hear it, right? But this. Because a real piano is full of layers, isn't it? So, but I can't play soft like that all the time. What if I hit hard? Nothing. So what did we do? We sampled the other velocities as well on top of that. So guess what? So now I can play. There's another issue on a real piano. How many of you have played a real piano before? Or a real grand piano? Have you noticed that the very last usually from G, Some models do from G sharp. Yamaha, we make our own piano, so we thought the best piano to sample was the best of them all, which is the CFX. From A flat, the last but one A flat, okay? All the way up. The dampers on there are no dampers on the strings, so the strings are quite free. Now, if we sampled it like we do normal samples, okay, then we're not going to be able to model the true character of the piano. So what did we do? We decided, okay, here's what we're going to do. The geniuses that we are going to show you that on a real grand piano. So we sampled that separately as well. Can you hear that? No dampers. Here, on the others. So yeah, so basically we have this. So dampers on the strings, right? No dampers. So realism is true. So model behavior as well. Sorry, let's use these knobs. I hope you're happy now, those of you who love the knobs thing. Now there's another thing, another feature out there, where it's called a release. You know when you play a real piano, you move your hand. It makes a sound. Do you know that? Just like a real piano. So if we have all of these together, this is what we get. Yamaha just didn't model sound, they modeled behavior, they modeled attitude. And it's not exclusive to pianos. So we did it with all the other sounds. For example, with our jazz singers. Here's what we have. One note. So when you open your mouth and you sing something, it sounds different to when you say it softly, isn't it? So I can go like... I never thought I could play that on a voice patch, guys. This is a voice patch. So AWM, Advanced Wave Memory, is an advancedly well-developed, I mean, we're bordering on phenomenal here, voice sample-based synthesis engine that actually models behavior, okay? So the competition models the sound. That's why you say, oh, something sounds great, but when you play it, you know, there's no soul. Musical instruments have life. Now, we model behavior as well. I mean, it's not just that. Let's visit even our Fender Rhodes electric piano library. What's our favorite song with our Fender Rhodes, man? So after all of this, what do? So I just go da-dee-da-da-da-da. So now I'm going to have a brass sound under this keyboard. But we're going to do something called velocity splitting, okay? So far, I've showed you layering, okay, on the montage. Now I'm going to do a velocity splitting, okay? You know what that is? Okay, just be honest, man. Consider this as a service, be honest. Do you know what velocity splitting is? Yes, all of you know, I love that. Okay, it's basically when you have sounds playing on the same range, the register of the keyboard, but one plays as you hit harder and one plays as you play softer, okay? So there are different types of splitting. You can have zonal splitting, and then you can have velocity splitting. There's another type of splitting, but maybe that's not relevant for this thing, but there are two main types, velocity and zonal. So we all know the zonal one, when you have the bass on your left and the piano on the right. You know that one? So that's zones. So a zone is an area where sound covers. And then the velocity is an area where a dynamic sound covers, okay? The dynamic area that the sound covers, okay? So dynamics is how hard or how soft you play. But we want brass, okay? So let's choose brass. Except that because I'm the assistant MD, I think I'm going to choose the brass this time, okay? So let's go for, boy, I'm spoiled for choice. There's so many fat brass sounds here. Let's just use power section, okay? Forgive, power section. Let me choose one sound. So here's power section. But we don't want this. You know what everybody's going to do when he hears that, right? What's he going to do? He's going to turn and take an offering from you. You don't want that. So why don't we use velocity dynamic splitting, okay? So I'm just going to press the sound, hit the edit button. It's exclusive to this, okay? And then I'm going to say, maybe you want this to be a very hard sound, okay? So I'm going to push it to velocity number 120 or 115, 120. So that it literally, you need to hit really hard to hear it. Except that there's another thing as well. I don't want it to play across the whole range. So we've already done that. We know how we do that, don't we? So I go back to that sound, and then I choose the velocity, the zone. And then maybe for this one, let's have the lowest note as F3, okay? That's good. Because normally I like my brass to be right in the middle of the keyboard. So for example, so now this is this particular patch, okay? So I'm playing beautifully, okay? So this one is... too hard. So now that I know that, okay, maybe I want to reduce it a little bit. Okay, so good. We don't have a problem. Let's go back. Let's hit it a little less. So go back to the velocity set. The beautiful thing is it's all accessible right in your face. So instead of 120, maybe let's make it 100. 105. I think 105. Let's agree on 105. So it's 105 right now, and I'm playing again. It's the same thing. The range is too high, okay? So now, this is, I'm walking you through, I hope you understand what we're doing. We're walking you through the process of the real things we do in church. So what do? Then the Reverend turns around and tells you that, what are you playing? Why is the sound so bright? What is the matter with you? My son has a trumpet in the house and it doesn't sound that bright. So what is wrong? What is the matter with you? So we go back to the pitch setting, which I really love. To pitch. And then turn it down to -12. You know the octave is 12 keys, okay? So if I go back to the... So then I still have it. So now look at it. All right, so... one keyboard, and the funny thing is, we've not actually changed a single sound. I'm in the same place. I'm in the one performance. I haven't moved. So now let me save this to another scene, okay? That's scene 4. So remember our scenes again? So now we've got to go back and try to mute the brass for the other scenes. Otherwise, it spoils the whole thing. So let's go back to my favorite thing. Mute the brass. Remember to save it again. Then next scene, mute the brass too, as usual. And then save it again. And the third scene, mute the brass as well. Nope, that's not the brass, sorry. That's the brass, so we save that. And then we save that as well. All right? So we have all this. Sorry, I think I may have unmuted the brass by accident. There you go, sorry. So the third scene, then we mute the brass. Brilliant. Fantastic. So now, we have a performance now. So let's mock, okay? I am Donnie, okay? Even though I look exactly like him. So we have the intro. things up and down. Now, the whole idea here is the Montage has the capability to save all of that. So I'm going to move on to another thing. Now, this is another level of high-performance control where you can have certain parameters be controlled by sustain. You can have certain parameters be controlled by modulation wheel. You can have certain parameters be controlled by anything. We all know the Midi controls, okay? So the keyboard is a Midi control. Pitch bends and modulation wheels are Midi controls. They send control data. That's why they're there. So what makes a keyboard is you have, first of all, the shell, number one, then the sound engine, which is what we've talked about. That's the AWM and the FMX being controlled by the motion control phenomenon, where the father and the train by which the motion control happens is the super knob, okay? I'll play with it a little bit more in a second because I like to work in gradients, okay? And then you have the actual input control, which is what you call the keyboards, okay? So if it's a guitar, MIDI guitar, you can trigger notes by MIDI. This one we trigger notes by the keyboard. And then you control those notes with ribbon. Can you see it going left and right? So I can use the ribbon controller, which is another control, assign it to pan. So that's another controller. Then you can have the pitch bend, controlling pitch, okay? So I'm moving pitch up or down. And then modulation. Volume, some can be done to low frequency oscillators and filters. So basically, these are controls. In the Montage, everything here is a controller. All the knobs you see, they're all controllers. The sliders are all controllers. And can you imagine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 per sound or per patch in a performance? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sliders per patch in a performance. Then you have this, that, and that. And you're supposed to control all, and you have 8 patches. That's many hands, isn't it? So now, the super knob, what it does is it puts all those hands together and allows you to control all of them, which we'll do in a second, okay? So now let's get back to the other thing I was talking about, the other phenomenon I was talking about, where you have different things controlling different things and also having it not control other things as well. So for example, in this song, I've set it up where I have an arpeggiator, okay? My favorite drum loop that I just put up. All right? Now, piano, right? It's against the law. You can't not have piano in God. So, what's this? That's a single performance where I'm putting all these together. So let's take a song. I like the song. Let me think of a song. Yeah, I got a song. Same thing. Control receive, okay, which is what I just demonstrated. So you can turn control knobs, control settings on and off. You can split zonally, you can split dynamically, all happening in one patch. So let's just say halfway through the song, all right, I need to go into a big orchestral break, okay? So once again, check this out. Same song. And then halfway through the song, it breaks. you could end up creating some mad things on there that are not really, I don't know. But I ended up liking the sound, so thanks for the insight, man. Thanks the play, flanger, man. I'm gonna program that sound and use it for my personal gig. So yeah, whatever you worship, man, I'm joining. So that's good.
My name is Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Yeah, fine, thank you.
My name is Isaac Mark.
Pleasure. The montage is usually on performance mode,
8 parts.
8 parts.
In a performance.
Yes.
Yes.
So my question was around, its sound card has 32 channels in out.
No, 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
I read somewhere it was 32.
You read somewhere?
Yes.
Was it a Bible or something, or a Quran or something? Read the manual, it will tell you 4. Okay, good. All right, cool. Yeah?
And I think my question was around how to use the montage within studio workflow.
Okay. Studio workflow.
You know, how I, so that then I can use, because there are certain sounds I won't use live, you know, in chat.
You're cheating, man. You put it on the sequence, don't you?
So how would I use maybe, you know, in a studio workflow?
The studio workflow?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to have to make it purely verbal because I cannot demonstrate a studio workflow here because this is actually a performance seminar. But what it's meant to be, what you're meant to do is out of your USB, yeah? Which one? Am I in the right one? Let me see, one of them. Yeah, I was right, didn't I? Skip it. Just tell. So into your laptop, okay? And open Cubase, okay? Cubase, yeah? The whole montage will explode if you use any other software other than Cubase. No, I'm just kidding now. But Cubase is what it comes with. And then in there, it's unlimited assignings of output, amazingly inside, because in the studio, really, you come out into your speakers, okay? And if you're one of the eccentric guys, you can use the other outputs as well. Now, what I used to do in the early days where keyboards had multiple outputs, I had a mixer, okay? And I used to come out of the other outputs as well, because just in case maybe I wanted to use an external effect. Those days are over, because the internal effects here are as good as any effects that I used to have. So that automatically, all right. So plug that in, assign your sounds, just like MIDI, you know, because it merges, because Steinberg is owned by Yamaha, you do know that, right? So for an amazing reason, it's sort of, what's the word? It's all enclosed and involved with each other. They're very incestuous in the way they work together. So you can actually end up choosing, this becomes a sort of a plugin. You know how plugins work, right? So you can assign all your sounds, okay? And then what I normally do is I burn it down to wave if I'm going out, okay? Which is what you're meaning using the sounds in conjunction with this with a click to the drummer, right? So I would burn everything or convert to wave file out of here and still carry this and not have to play some of those sounds. So maybe if you're like me where you have maybe some gigs, just piano, and you like the strings and stuff, because it's different articulations and stuff that you can't actually do all at the same time, okay? So yeah, so I'll let this and assign a click out to the drummer. If I decide to use this now as the same sound card live, which is what I would do, which is what I actually do now, the first 2 go to the front of house. That is my montage sound. Then there are 2 extra outputs as you see. Now, I route 1 out as the sequencer, okay? And they have a way of making it stereo, okay? And then the other out goes to the drummer. So you just need a very long cable, a very good quality one, of course. So out of maybe the 3, output 3, to the drummer for click, and then the other out into that for worship, typical worship scenario. So I have my Cubase running my sequences at the same time. Click. I think I would love to demonstrate that one day. Unfortunately, this wasn't that kind of demo. But it's amazing. It works perfectly because this output goes into a certain different types of DIs, and then they can actually put it in the desk and spread it across. Then they click strictly to the drummer. Let the drummer have his click, you know, otherwise you're going to have problems, you know. And then the 2 I reserve for my montage. You know why? Because I like to have sounds, as I demonstrated, that go left and right and stuff. So I don't want to have it in mono. But I've never had a problem with it, and I've done some real big gigs. You know what I mean? So does it answer the question for you? So right from the studio, live. It was made for performers who work in the studio. Most keyboards were made for people who work in the studios that like to perform a bit. You know what I mean? The montage is for performers. And most of us do things in the studio, so it's quite a seamless transition between the 2. And I can also assign anything, my super knob to it, and use my foot when I'm playing. I'm not that type of player, but if you are, who is actually? So yeah, you could do that if you want as well. So does that answer for you? They're very easy to do, yes, but it's a very relevant question. I find arpeggiators very intimidating, so, but You do, don't you? That's we're on the same page. So in church, choose the sound, you know, and put it on there. I mean, I like to play my notes, but you can also arpeggio just like I showed it there. Okay. All right, last one. One more. Oh, 27 more. Oh, good. 27 questions more. That's good. Any more questions? Performance-related questions, questions, 2 more. I've asked a few. Yeah? All right, then go on then.
For people like this friend of mine here is a very good Ohangla pianist.
It's a pianist, yeah?
Yeah, Ohangla is a local kind of music.
A local?
Local.
Oh, local, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, traditional.
Traditional, yeah.
And it's evolved. So nowadays they use keyboards.
It doesn't use keyboards?
No.
Oh, now they use
keyboards.
Oh, boy. They get to play keyboards
Yeah,
too? Okay.
Yes. And some of the sounds...
All right.
Some of the sounds they use, we have the fiddle sound.
A fiddle?
Yeah. Yes. Traditional from where this guy lives.
What's it called in your country? Koligo?
It's called
Orutu.
It's called Orutu.
Orutu?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I do not like the sound I get from the montage, how can I sample mine into the montage? Is that possible?
First of all, you will never not like the sounds in your, in the montage. And secondly, yes, you can. So let me answer both. You can do both. You will definitely love the sounds, and more content is being created day by day. So this is an instrument to consider, because for what you have said, it's a very ritually important sound. Now, what we normally do is the montage can actually play sample libraries as well. Okay. I've never imported a sample library. I've not even gone over that. It's so good. But if you choose to, you can. So you could just record it onto a WAV file, that sample. But then it can also be recorded as a patch. It's online as well. Something called Montage Connect. Okay, it's a software that works seamlessly with this. Like I said, this was a performance thing. But in your studio, when you're programming your sounds and everything, when we do make an Urdu content, you'll be the first to be emailed, and you can just get a download. There's the sound. They're online. They even have Bosendorfer piano sounds that you can just download and put it in there. It has over 1.6 gig of free space for you to do that with. So yes, don't worry at all. The tradition will not die. The Urdu sound will be there. Whatever you do, just use it for spiritually clean purposes, okay? Don't invoke any false idols with it. That's all. That would be good. All right, good.
Okay, so I think you raised a very valid point.
It's a very valid point.
Yes, all of these points, I'm sure all of you have got preferences for like local content. And
local content, yeah.
Please send all of these requests to Credible Sounds. We take these local contents very serious, and then we embed them in the upgrades. So please send all the requests to Credible Sounds. If you have samples or whatever, we have a feedback form where we can actually come back to you, and then you would actually assist us develop the content. So this is very, very important. Thank you for raising
Extremely.
it.
Thank you very much as well, sir. We have one gentleman at the back there.
Thank you. When I came in, I think the word I had when I was coming in was, you come from UK. I'm here.
I came from what?
You come from UK.
Oh, that's a difficult question, isn't it? My immigration status is a
I'm
bit
just
confusing.
starting.
Pardon?
Can you tell us a little bit about you? Have you had ups and downs in what you are doing? And what do you do now?
Yeah, I have ups and downs. I've been to Carnival just once. That's difficult to accept that it was such a wonderful experience when I was there. With me, ups and downs in music, you mean? What do you mean, ups and downs in using the keyboard or in music?
Exactly, because there's a time you said in your explanation, you told us sometimes you touch a very nice key, you think the reverend will even announce to the congregation, tell them that key is the best, and then all of a sudden he turns back and tells you, stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That is a very serious...
Isaac,
yes.
I think it's more about your experience.
My experience,
yes.
Okay.
Just talk about how you developed your music life.
Okay. I have a very good one for you. This even makes me laugh when I think about it. This is Dr. Cerullo, Maurice Cerullo. Anybody heard of him? So this is Earl's Court, okay? This is big, 70,000 people, and the Lord is there. And there's this song he used to love, all right? No, this is personal, so let me express myself, man. It really hurt me, what happened, sir. I'm not playing on this one. So, you know this song, I Feel Jesus? Unfortunately, it was supposed to be the Hammond organ that was supposed to play before me. And I started playing before Ian Oakley. And Dr. Cirillo turned around to me and said, "Everybody, stop the music. Who is this gentleman? He lacks attentiveness. Do we have the other pianist here? I think he needs to be replaced immediately. But the Spirit of the Lord be with you." Give him a round of applause, everybody. Papa loves you. Now, if that happens to you in front of 75,000 people, normally I recommend suicide because it's the end of your life. Now, if you do not do that, you have to pray that the ground opens for you to fall, because the whole idea is you don't want to exist anymore. Now, what am I trying to say? Ups and downs are part of it. I mean, I've had people who called me like not talented. My mother advised me not to do music because I wouldn't get anywhere, because, you know, frankly speaking, I didn't play that well when I started, okay? So that's my mother. She loved me. She had to tell me the truth. Now, the best way, there's this little saying that you're as good as your last gig, okay? But the beautiful thing is your last gig is the one you've already played. And you always have to hope that your best days are ahead and not behind. So there are 3 types of people that criticize you, okay? Those who don't like you, okay? And they don't care. They just criticize you because they need everything wrong about you. So they highlight your wrong or your weaknesses, isn't it? And then you have those who love you because they want you to be so good, nothing you do is good enough. So they criticize you. So whenever there's something wrong with your performance, they will tell you, all right? Then you have those who just don't care. They criticize everybody. So they'll choose the wrong things about you only, not the right things, and criticize it. They are all right. True or false? And they all turn you into the same thing. They all make you better if you listen to them. So when you have down moments like the Reverend turns to embarrass you, the more you get embarrassed on stage, the less embarrassed you become. Okay? Now, anybody who is not easily embarrassed becomes confident. I remember my biggest gig, well, I have 3 biggest gigs, was Lionel Richie, and we're doing the Princess Trust gig. And this song was one that was on the table. And Chucky Buka was the MD, okay? The first time I got the gig, okay, I had to play something for him to hear. So I went for the kill. Whoa. The song was already a hit before you even started playing the keyboard. It will be a hit long after you're dead. So why don't you just play the song? So another golden rule is play the song. It doesn't make you a fantastic keyboardist just because you can do it. Sometimes this is what makes you the best keyboard player. Play the song. It's a song for a reason. When you're given the headlights to improvise, go for it, man. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to do what is not needed. And you realize that it is the audience primarily that you play for. It is the congregation and the Lord you play for. So 99% of the times, no, it's the truth. You play unto God, right? But there is a congregation, aren't there? They matter, you know. If all the congregation goes to your pastor and say, you know, whenever that guy plays the keyboard, we don't flow, you think you're going to be there? No. You're not, right? All right? So 99% of the time, play the song. Because the song is a song for a reason. Hey, everybody knows. Why must you do? I mean, that's amazingly complex harmony, all right? But are you doing the song any good? Oh, you like to play like that, eh? Oh, so you're the jazz man. Well, good. Okay, one more, and I'm out. Thank you. Gotta wait for the next one. One more. One more. One more. Good. So that means you all understand. Are you sure? It's going in 3, 2. All right.
Asante kwa kutazama Vipaji Online TV. Nikutakie utazamaji mwema wa vipindi vijavyo. Ulikuwa na mimi mtangazaji wako Valeria Nyanje, binti mwelevu. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.